Hello, I'm MBX3Cat and welcome back to the top 5 video. Today I'm going to go through the top 5 most hated changes to Minecraft of all time. This is something that came up recently in my brain because I realized that the whole coins changes they made to Minecraft is really controversial to really specific sets of people, but it's by far not the most hated change Minecraft's ever had. And I figured for those of you that haven't, played Minecraft as long or, haven't seen all of this sort of stuff, and you want to know like what the most hated moves that have been made by Mojang are, I figured I'd talk about the top 5 in today's video. Hopefully you all do enjoy it. Reminder, you can like the video if you do like it because it helps out the channel and lets me know you do like this sort of video. But with that said, let's get straight into the 5th most hated change, which, like I just kind of hinted at right there, is the coins change. Because basically, this is a brand new thing they added to Minecraft that was widely hated, but only by the Minecraft PC community as far as I can tell. It's really interesting because, again, there's like a specific set of people who really hate this feature, but the vast majority of people who play on the Pocket Edition just look at this and say, oh, there's brand new stuff to play with, I guess that's kind of cool. And it's really interesting, that kind of breakdown of like, there are so many things that are hated more than this, despite the fact that, so many people see it as like the worst thing ever, like, oh, this is Microsoft making money from, something that was previously free. There are people, even Notch himself says, that now my game's turned into this thing with freemium coins. You can see the tweet, it's kind of subtle, but he says the idea of in-game currency is something he really doesn't like. Literally Notch himself, that again, the Minecraft PC community is really not on board with it, but the Pocket Edition guys, the people who are actually playing the game that this is a part of, really aren't too bothered as a whole. You can see some people who are skeptical, but it's really interesting that this is only the 5th most hated feature, and that's why I wanted to, kind of make this video to talk about 4 other features which are hated a bit more, like number 4 here, which is actually the Woodland Mansion, which you might be surprised at. You might think that's one of the best features coming to Minecraft in the future, if you're on the console at least. But the thing is about the Woodland Mansion that makes people not like it so much is that the Woodland Mansion was really the bulk of the 1.11 update. The 1.11 update was something like 6 months in development, and when it finally came out, this giant exploration update, it's called the exploration update. When this update finally comes out, all it is this one new structure you can find in one new biome, and that contains most of the features. And although a lot of those features are cool, there's illagers, there's 3 brand new mobs in that update, there's the totem of undying, there's lots of other big things like that you can do in that thing. That is, the vast majority of the update is either the Woodland Mansion, things contained within the Woodland Mansion, or the maps to get to the Woodland Mansion. And you might think, why is that such a big deal? Why do people hate that? I'm not sure what you're saying there, but bear in mind, this is a 6-month update that is one brand new structure. There are mods that add like 1,000 brand new structures, and, the actual content creators themselves, the people making the game, Mojang, they spend all this time on the one structure that really doesn't give you exploration. Like, it's not exploration if you go out there looking for this one specific thing that is going to be tens of thousands of blocks away, because again, in some cases, it's literally 100,000 blocks away from you because they're that rare. It was the sort of thing that most people were really kind of bitter with, because even, by the time you then get there, there's this really rare thing that you can explore for, but really you have to find a map for, or you have to just really get lucky. There's this thing you can explore for, but once you do get there, there's the brand new features to play with, but besides that, there's pretty much nothing. It's just a bunch of free resources, and, it's not the right type of stuff that you really want to get. There's no great loot or anything like that, and that's why people really hate the Woodland Mansion as a whole, and that's why it's probably the 4th most hated feature that Minecraft's ever had. It's like this, it's this giant like monument of like, well, for instance, mods, like there's that 400 biome mod, but then still at the same time, instead of that, Mojang adds one new structure, no new biomes, it's an existing biome, and that got, as far as I can tell, a lot of people really hated that, and really hate the 1.11 update for that reason, and that's why it's probably the 4th most hated feature. The 3rd most hated feature, though, is another, PC specific change. I think a lot of the, like, I guess the negativity in the game from general comes from them, because it is to do with the servers. So if you do not know, a couple of years ago, it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, Mojang realized that, the vast majority of people playing on servers were young players, and so many people, would play on a server, spend some money, or without realizing it, or without their parents permission, and then they'd go to Mojang and say, can I have that money back? But, Mojang couldn't do anything because it was a private server, because obviously on the PC, anyone can start a server, and at the time, anyone, they couldn't really, but anyone could charge for stuff, and that's how things were. So you'd play the Hunger Games, and you could, pay some money to start with a diamond sword. Some servers still kind of do that. You could, if you were playing Skywars, you could pay some money and start with some diamond armor. Or if you were playing, most games would do something like that. Factions was a big example. Basically, there was lots of money to be made selling in-game items in Minecraft and giving people an advantage, because then obviously you get lots of people playing your server, and those people might want to spend some money. So we all down for the idea now? We all understand it? Basically, this changed where, it was officially never, allowed, but this got really, really banned, and Mojang had a EULA change, the EULA change, and user license agreement, if you don't know, and they had a big change to that, and they decided, no, if you run a server, no in-game changes. They made a bunch of demands which were a little bit unreasonable as to what you could charge for, and basically servers said, this is going to shut down the game, this is the worst thing ever, and because the servers are the things that the players are playing, the players therefore hated it as well, and it's this big thing where, like, they never really enforced it too well. They blacklisted, like, 3 or 4 servers. They never really enforced the thing too well, but the amount of, like, negative effect it had, and the amount of, like, I guess, mistrust it created between Mojang and the server owners is something that I feel like a lot of anyone who plays, Minecraft multiplayer on the PC today probably is still really, really, against, and that's something that you might not have known was so hated. But I'd say it's probably the third most hated change of all time, only second to the Golden Apple changes. That they made in both they made one in 1.3, I believe, and they made one in 1.9, and both of them were kind of widely, again, they're hated by very different players, but basically, the first time they changed the Golden Apple, they changed the regular Golden Apple recipe to be something, like this, the regular, gold ingot recipe, to being something like that, where you have to use gold nuggets, you have to use gold ingots instead of gold nuggets, and basically, this was a big deal, because, oh no, well, I quite like I really rather like the easy recipe. I like being able to make, 50 of them, but they made it 9 times harder. Yeah, 9 ingots in 9 nuggets in an ingot, which means they made it 9 times harder, and this is not a good thing, right? And then they also changed in 1.9, they made it so the enchanted golden apple, because it was OP if you had a gold farm, they made that uncraftable. So you might think, what's the big deal? Well, they took again, golden apples are such a big part of Minecraft, in my opinion, and they made them a lot harder to make. One of them, they made it so you have to spend 9 times as much work on it, and the other one, the enchanted golden apple, now you have to go and find them naturally, which is a lot harder. And basically, yeah, a lot of people really hate this, because if you're just playing regular survival Minecraft, the game doesn't need to be balanced. You just want it to be fun. Like, golden apples make the wither boss easier or more fun, or, they make this or that bit easier, and that's something that you didn't necessarily get when you were... That's something you couldn't necessarily get when they made them that much more hard, and it's something that, yeah, I think the vast majority of survival players kind of hated, and were really against. But again, that's a very different set of people than hated the most hated change of all time. You all knew what it was going into this. We didn't really need to go through all these steps, but we all know what the most hated change of all time is. That's right, it's the 1.9 combat update. So bear in mind, this update was something that was waited on for a year and a half. It was something like September of 2013 to February of 2015. There was a year of no updates, and then this thing, the snapshots start coming out, and they decide we're going to revamp combat finally. That thing we've said we wanted to do for a while now, and the players have said they wanted to do for a while now. We're going to do it, and that you might think wow, yeah, the anticipation, this is going to be fun. But the way it actually turned out is they made the combat have a delay on it. So that to add skill to the game, they added dual wielding, which a lot of people are kind of fussy on, and they also added an ability. They also added a cooldown, so you can't just you have to attack, 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 attack. There was a cooldown, and the intention was to add some skill to the game to make it so that, it's not just down to, whoever has the fastest connection, and, again, because on servers, if you know what you're doing, you can instantly melt people if you know if you tap, a Roach to Fight moment. Have you played in a server and just been, instantly dead? That's because they know how to, do it at just the right interval, and that's something that a lot of people really quite like. However, this new interval meant that their skills, kind of changed, and a lot of people really didn't like that, and also this meant that the dual wielding meant you had to get used to using 2 things at once. You could wield a sword and a bow, and a lot of people were really just not down with that at all. They said, we prefer the old combat so much more, bring it back. And it was a large majority of the community, maybe 40-50% of people that said bring it back. And the thing about this is that because it is just the kind of PvP players and server community that had this giant demand, and some players weren't down with it too, it makes survival a bit annoying. It made loads of people unhappy. Some people were just kind of okay with it, but it was really just unhappy people and okay people. But because it is such a fundamental part of the game, because they made it a giant almost wall of the community, now they can't really back down. And Jeb said multiple times he's not bringing the old combat back. That's not a thing you can do. But in spite of that, this single change has split the community, because now every single server on the PC will, for the most part, uses the old 1.8 combat. This means most players, when they play online, are using these old versions. Some people have even said, oh yeah, I don't really like anything added past 1.8. This means that people are using a 2013 version of Minecraft, and even though Minecraft's being updated on the PC, because of this one change has made the game so unplayable to such a large percentage of them that no servers, really properly update past that point. And it really leads us to the weird point we're at right now, where, oh yeah, so Minecraft PC has now just stalled in time for 4 years, and it's one of those massively fascinating kind of I guess points in a game community change. This is one of the most hated changes of all time, because I feel like they didn't do it gradually enough. There was such a giant change all in one update, and apparently some Minecraft players don't like some giant change, and that's a lesson you can learn from this. So yeah, what are the 5 most hated Minecraft changes of all time? I'd say coins is only at number 5. People hated, wooden mansions way more. People hated golden apples way more. Server changes, the idea of servers not being able to charge money, it was hated by the community because they thought they'd bring down the servers. But the most hated one of all time is the brand new combat, the dual wielding, and also the the slow attacking. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video, talking about the top 5 most hated features. I remind you, you can like the video if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and lets know you do like this sort of video. I mean, look, I've got some face cam, probably. At least I'm seeing a face cam right now. Isn't that wonderful? You can share the video if you really liked it, and you can subscribe if you are new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. And one more time, just because people are always like, oh, Toycat, if you have a blue screen, you should, like, blue screen yourself into space or something. But the reason I don't is because it's not uneven lighting. No matter how hard I try, I've got like a camera that's going to do this for you. You can see it right here. I've got a new one of the same camera, and it should do it for me. So at some point in the future, this will happen. This thing right here, that'll be a thing. It's got a little tripod. It's kind of cool, but I can't get this to work right now. But this has the blue screen thing built into it, so that so that should make things a bit better. Anyway, I hope you did. That's not good, is it? Like, it's not meant to. Whatever. I hope you did enjoy this video. Because I will see you all in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye.